I was going to say that the being, what is it, 2, 3 years? Probably 22 I did it. And now we're going to go into 25. Um, some of the deeper held knots, it helped me unravel those. So I can see now looking 3 years back that things that I asked in my personal one helped me hear something a little like you helped me figure out what was a little deeper below the surface to make bigger changes that really are long-term changes. Like because it was so deep, I see some of the spiraling, looking at it 3 years, like I'm growing just an inch, but I'm going back into the habit and I'm just growing another inch. But the mentorship, doing it, I think that there is some real value in doing these kinds of things somewhat publicly. Like if it was just between you and I, and then we're looking 3 years back, I think it's a different energy than doing it with the whole group, which I've never done before. But I think to some extent it helped. Being held in a group environment helped the process of trying to change it grow a little bit more, change a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really know exactly how the format of the group private came to me. So it's basically what we do in the mentorship circle, the group circle, is we have not more than 11 people in the circle, and one person is in focus each month for our 2 hour session. Everybody gets a chance to do a check-in at the beginning and a kind of check out at the end, but the primary, hour and a half is dedicated to one person, and everyone else on the call is holding space and listening. And we do it all off camera. We just do the beginning and the end on camera, and then the actual session is off camera so that we can listen more deeply and not be distracted by the social visuals. And it's just brilliant. Like the energy that happens and the amplification is the word that comes to my mind, where like what Marla was speaking about, that I wouldn't say it's like, I wouldn't say that it's accountability, which you often hear in kind of coaching circles, that, I'm going to say this, make this intention, and I need to be accountable to it. And having the people in the group makes me feel accountable. It's more, because we're trying to unravel, like a lot of the themes have to do with letting go of perfectionism and letting go of over efforting and the deep, deep knots that we're clenched, in around those themes, and just letting life live through us in a more graceful and harmonious way. So I can't say accountability, but there like that group reflection, amplification, resonance is just magic. So I was a little nervous about doing it in a group format at first, and kind of how that would work. But I honestly, I almost prefer it to the one-to-one, because it feels more powerful and more effective. And the other cool thing is that we did it 2 years in a row. So we did a total of 24 sessions. Actually, I did more like 48 sessions because I had an Australia time group and a Europe time group. So I did a lot of them, and all of the sessions of the mentorship circle that we did were, I think they really surprised all of us with how much kind of sympathetic string vibration was going on between whatever one person was unraveling. And then it just reverberated sympathetically throughout the whole group, and everyone was like making shifts energetically throughout it. And it's just really cool. So we're gonna start in January. Yeah. Anyway, any other questions?
Something that it reminds me of that I'll just mention is I went to ecstatic dance for the first time recently, and it was the thing that was so surprising to me about that was people moving their bodies weirdly in a public way. And it was so freeing. And I think that's why the group environment works in the mentorship, because it's almost like you free yourself in public as a step towards the change. Like the
Mm.
way I was moving my body was publicly, but everyone else was doing that. And I was like, wow, it's so freeing to say I can do anything. I could stand on my head for 5 minutes, or I could, jump around the room. And so the same way, I think that's the step that's the in between with the mentorship is you're kind of doing it publicly, like it's arising, and it's arising in a public arena instead of still being held as your own.
So there is a privacy and intimacy feeling to it, but you know that you're being held in this such an, like, just the Heart of Sound community is so loving and accepting and just